Welcome back. Now we're joined by Rich Posipanko, head men's soccer coach. Coach, you're coming off 2 consecutive Big South Conference tournament championships, NCAA appearances, but this is a much different team than you've had over the last couple of years. Tell us a little bit about it.
It is, Everett. We lost a lot of players over the last 2 years, and we lost 6 very good players last year. So this is certainly, I don't know if it's a rebuilding year or reloading, whatever you want to call it, but it's certainly a different team. There's a lot of youth, there's a lot of inexperience, but there's also a lot of potential.
You've got 2 young players in Daniel DiBiagio and Matt Stinson that played on the Canadian national team, or their under-17 national team. How does that international experience help them as they come in?
Well, hopefully that's gonna pay dividends. DiBiagio, of course, has a year of college experience. Stenson, on the other hand, is coming in as a young freshman as well. He's still only 17 years old, and he's on the U20 national team. But he has a lot of experience, which should help him carry through. But we're looking for both of those guys to be leaders on this team and have good careers here.
Miguel Casajuana, one of the midfielders that I know you're expecting a lot from. Tell us what kind of player he is and what sort of dimensions he adds.
Well, Miguel's going to be our go-to player this year. He, to be honest, the problem with Miguel is it takes him a while to get going. By the end of the season, he's usually a very, very good player. It just takes him some time to get going. But we're going to have a lot of responsibility in him this year as a playmaker, much like Nasurco was the last 2 years.
Enrique Miranda, the starting goalkeeper from last year, what is his feel on this year? He's got a year of experience under his belt. How's he improved coming into this year?
Right. It's difficult for a freshman to come in and I think start at the college level right away. And unfortunately, he was thrown into that position last year. And on top of that, had a very young defense around him. So he sort of grew into the role as well as everybody else on defense. But that year that he had last year should pay dividends this year. In fact, I mean, when you give that many goals up as we did in the beginning of the year, hopefully you learn from each one of those. And the goalkeeping situation is pretty tight this year. I mean, we have 3 goalkeepers that are, pretty much all the same right now.
Who else do you look to, especially on defense? Who are the key players that you're looking for on that defensive unit?
Well, I think Jordan Osborne, who played a lot last year, started here and there. He's gonna be in one of those center back positions. Josh Choice, a freshman. Drew Boldridge, a freshman. Wiley Ray, who started last year, is a sophomore, and Matt Horn, one of our other captains, is a junior. So those are guys that we're looking to carry the bulk defensively.
Still picked high, despite the youth, despite the injuries. Other coaches in the league still think you're going to be pretty good. Is that sort of a target on your back to be picked as high as you are, or do you think that's where you should be?
Well, I'm happy we're not number 1. I think we've been the preseason favorite for the last 4 or 5 years, so that's good not to have that on your shoulders. But I actually picked us 5th. I think 2 is a little high for this team right now. All we have right now is potential, and whether we reach that potential by the end of the year, we'll find out in November.
Talk a little bit about the changes over this program since you've been here. You're in your 18th season here at Winthrop. It's a long time to be at one school. I know a lot of things have changed in that. Talk a little bit about how you think this program has developed over the years.
Well, I think when we came in, I mean, all of us were in the same boat. There wasn't the facilities we have now, there wasn't the funding. It was very difficult. And I know it took at least a good 5 years to get this thing turned around to where I thought we could be competitive. And then at that point, that's all we were, was competitive. Then as we got the facility upgrades and the funding increased from about 2000 on or so, we've not only been able to compete, but we've been able to win at a high level. And, that's the difference. You can't outwork money today. There's just no way you can do that. But we've been working, we worked as hard the first year as we are now, just that we've got a little more resources to work with, and I think that's paid dividends.
All right, well, we appreciate your time, and we hope you have a great season this year.
I appreciate it, Everett.